I'd like to talk about, and you were on this about a day or so ago, is Akron designated as a regional tech hub, and what this is going to mean to Akron going forward. This is pretty big stuff.
No, it's not just pretty big. It's a big deal for Akron. Akron too often gets left out of these things. We went to bat with the Commerce Department. There were 400 applicants all over the state, all over the country. Akron had, in my mind, one of the best applications about polymers. I spoke with the Commerce Department a number of times. Akron is one of 11, only 11 in the whole country that will get this investment. And so it's a big, big deal. Nobody else in Ohio got it. Nobody else in this region of the country was one of the, I think Michigan got a little bit, but not the designation and the investment that Akron will get. It was well done by the mayor, by Mayor Horrigan, by the University of Akron, by the business community. My friend Joe Canfor and others stepped up, and it's a really, really big. In the county, in County Executive Shapiro stepped up, so it was a. And the mayor, I also spoke with the mayor designee or whatever we're calling Shumras before he takes office in January. So all of those community people were very engaged.
Senator, talk about that investment so people who are just coming on this story, what this means for Akron.
Well, it means that the federal government will invest and assist with some dollars, but the real investment will be leveraging those dollars. When local business, local nonprofits, a great university like U of Akron understand that they have a federal commitment, it's going to generate a lot more local investment, and that kind of joint investment will mean that it will mean jobs. We don't have any idea yet how many, but it's really, the problem has been, as you know, Ray, that we have seen most of the economic growth in this country go to the West Coast and the East Coast for whatever reason. I don't think it's government-driven. It's just the way it's been too often. The industrial Midwest has been hurt by that. I grew up in a town, Mansfield, which has really been hurt. Cities like Canton, Akron to a degree, but Canton and Barberton and all kinds of medium-sized cities. And it's time we begin to bring those jobs to the Midwest. They used to call us the Rust Belt. We have buried that term, but we've got to do better, and that means federal partnerships. And my job, when I came to the Senate, my job was that Ohio get its fair share because it wasn't. My job now is that Ohio gets more than its fair share, and that's what we did in Akron here.
U.S. Senator Sherrod Brown with us. Sherrod, at least part of that UAW strike looks like it's settled with Ford, but still GM is out there as well as others, and we've seen the trickle down with jobs and such into Ohio. Give us the latest on how you're looking at this for workers in Ohio and beyond. Are we getting closer to getting all of this done? What do you hear?
Oh, I think that the strategy of the UAW was sound, and they knew if they could – they moved around where they were striking to different levels of the three companies. They pointed out the American public is absolutely on their side because the American public was learning really for the first time how many sacrifices the workers made. The UAW workers gave back a whole lot of their pay and their benefits to the point that now Stellantis made $12 billion just in the first half of this calendar year, while the average Stellantis worker made 1/365th of what the CEO. The CEO made 365 times what the average worker made. The public heard that. The public knew that. That's why the public is on the side of these workers. You win on Ford than the other companies. There's more pressure on Stellantis and GM as a result. So this is really, really good news. I assume the Ford workers, UAW workers will ratify this contract. And keep in mind always, union members don't want to strike. Almost none of them want to strike. Their backs are against the wall. When a Chrysler worker, 1,100 people at the Chrysler plant in Toledo, make less than $19 an hour, some of them there several years. There's something wrong with this when the CEO is making more than $20 million a year. So this is beginning to bring that back into some semblance of order, which is good. It's not just good for UAW workers. It's going to be good for workers. It's going to empower workers more around the country, and that's really good.
Final question, Senator. Mike Johnson looks like he's now in place as Speaker of the House, and we've got a November deadline coming up very quickly about avoiding a government shutdown. A lot of work now to get to, correct?
Yeah, I hope that they do their jobs. I mean, it's why people don't like Congress. That for 3 weeks there was no speaker. These guys were still getting. I see guys, mostly guys, among the people fighting over this speakership, and you know they weren't doing their job. I don't think they should have been paid during that period because essentially Congress had shut down because they weren't doing their work. I'm hopeful they do now. We've got to do Israel. We've got to do Ukraine. We've got to keep the government open. We've got to do the child tax credit again, which was a huge success, helping working class and middle class and low income families. There's a lot to do. I hope this dysfunction ends and they actually serve the public instead of their ego trip kind of how many clicks can I get when I say outrageous things kind of behavior that they've had.
Sherrod, thank you so much, my friend. Always appreciate the time in Akron.
Sure. I can't believe the NBA season is starting and the World Series is just beginning in the football season. How much do we need at one time, Ray?
I'm with you, my friend. Hey, we're not going to be too long down the road where you and I are going to talk about spring training baseball soon.
I'll talk about spring training even now if you want. But anyway, all right. Thanks, Ray.
You got it. U.S. Senator Sherrod Brown, him and I go way back talking about Indians/Guardians baseball for sure. We even had him in the studio a couple of mornings doing sports updates for us from time to time. Okay, let's now get you caught up on traffic. Here's Stephanie in the newsroom on traffic.
The right shoulder is blocked on 76-224 westbound near the Kenmore leg. Be careful there. Traffic is congested on 77 northbound from Arlington to 224. On 224 eastbound, it's